my word, it is indeed 9 o'clock and it's a Saturday. Yes, what can that mean? What can that mean? It's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woohoo! Good morning, everybody, and you can relax because, yes, in the UK at least, it is another stonking 3-day weekend. It is the May bank holiday, which gives us all that little bit of extra time to have some fun and games with our hobby. And also, I must say, now I don't want to make shout outs a thing necessarily, but my good acquaintance Adrian Tritton is marrying the lovely Karen Foreman tomorrow. They are a wonderful couple. Adrian is a terrific bloke and has been a very good friend to me, and he actually placed the very first order with Monster Magic, which was a few years ago now, unbelievably. So I wish them just the best day ever. Obviously it's Karen's day. Adrian, please just toe the line and do as you're told. And a wonderful life together, and I hope to see them very soon. Okie dokie, and first up I am gonna start with the big one, and why not? It is the Murphy's release of the week. It's had the push, it's had all of the emails by just about everybody. It is FireFly by Titanus. That's a name I really want to mispronounce. I've had to do that intro a couple of times because, anyway, right. So what is this? This is a way of showing that you have empty hands. You then cup your hands and you can produce a strong glow of a really bright light, and you can then show your hands are empty afterwards. You can also use it to illuminate lots and lots of other things and use it in lots and lots of other effects, which I'll get into later. This might be a bit rambly, this review. I've just realized I've got quite a lot to say on it, really, but basically it's a utility device for creating a bright light. You might sort of compare it, I suppose, to a smoke device in many ways, where you can use it to just enhance effects as you would do with smoke, or you can use it as an effect in itself. Whether creating smoke or light is better or more magical, I'm not sure. The thing to say about this is that with smoke devices, they tend to hide in plain sight. They're usually hidden somewhere, so you can show your hands very cleanly empty on both sides, or they're hidden in an object that, an everyday object that is above suspicion, and you can still show your hands empty both sides very cleanly. You can't quite do that with this. So there are more of an angle issue with this. Basically, there is something hidden on your hand, and so that means basically you've got 180 degrees, I would say. Depending on how you hold your hands, you might minimize that. How you do the effect and what effect you're doing obviously will make a difference too. If you're doing something where, you know, the card trick or something like that, the angles are much better because you're naturally keeping your hands low and facing the floor, so you'd only need someone lying on the floor. I don't want to give too much away about the gimmick, basically. The other thing is, obviously, it's a bright light, and there are other ways and other things that have been hidden in plain sight for a long time that create a bright light, and that is D-lights or any other glowing thumb tip. Mark Antoine's Pro Light 3 is probably the best one out there. It's super bright, it's comparable brightness to this, and that does hide in plain sight, but it doesn't have some of the functions of this. So although there are some effects on the tutorial that is split up into 3 different videos, each about an hour long, so it's a pretty long tutorial, very thorough. There are some effects that you could probably do with Mark Antoine's Pro Light if you've already got that, so you might want to think about that before buying this, but this is completely different to all of those things. And so I was just sort of, don't know, thinking about whether I'd use it in its uses and so on. So that's why I'm talking about that. All right, let me show you what you get in the box first of all, because I'm not going to show you the actual gimmick because I think that should remain a secret. I can hint as much as I can, but really you've got to buy it to find out. But here in the box, you get a USB-C cable. So that's what charges it up. A very good, solid, universal way of charging. You also get the plug for it. Now, this is a US plug. If you're not in the United States, you are going to use an adapter. You're going to need an adapter. Fortunately, what you can also get, if you buy it from Monster, is a complimentary US to UK plug. So I'm popping that in with every order for people, free of charge, obviously, because I want you to be able to use it straight out of the box and not be caught out. So the reason for using this is because of how it charges. You don't want to do it on a fast charging port. You don't want to plug it straight into a wall or into a plug socket, in case that's, I don't know, I'm not quite sure what the issue is, but it might be too powerful for the gimmick. So it's best to use it via this with an adapter. Javier explains that, and you know, you don't want to ruin it. Charging things is always a bit iffy in my book sometimes, so really just be careful with it and be aware that that is the best way of using it. The gimmick itself, which I'm not going to tell you, but what I'm going to tell you the size of it, it is 38 millimeters long. It is 13 millimeters wide, and it's 8 millimeters high, and it doesn't weigh very much at all. The weight of it is important because there are two different ways of setting it up. Well, actually, there's sort of three different ways of setting it up. One is the first way that Javier teaches is very, very secure, belts and braces. If you're worried about dropping it or the security of it, essentially, that is the way to go. Then there's the second way, which is the way that Javier does it throughout the tutorial. So that is the way I've been using it. If someone with experience is using it that way, then I guess that's probably the best. I'll, you know, let someone else make all of the mistakes. And because it is so light, actually, I was very, very surprised at how secure it felt. I was worried it might fall off, it might drop off, or I'd just be worried about it and self-conscious about it. But it's been absolutely fine. And the advantage of the second way is it's much easier to clean up and get into. I say that, I didn't really try the first way. And then at the end, they teach a way of using it with a pull, making your own little sort of homemade pull, if that is the route you want to go down. It's only touched upon, but you get the idea. The thing that's really impressed me with this device is everything they've managed to pack into it in such a small space. So you've got, well, it produces a very, very bright light to start off with, which is exactly what you need, especially if you're going to do this outdoors. On a British summer's day, that might be fine. On a bright Californian day, I'm not sure. And then there's the features as well. You've got three different modes. You've got to sort of press and hold, so it'll stay on until you release the button. You've got a press on and a press off mode, and you've got one where you press and it will just stay on for about 7 or 8 seconds and then fade away. There's no remote control option. I'm guessing that would affect the size far too much and put the price up as well. So you do actually have to press it and touch it at some point, regardless of which routine you're doing. The other thing I must say is that when I've been playing with it, it is just far easier to use than a smoke device. I'm not going to keep comparing it to a smoke device. There's no topping up of the glycerine. There's no heat coil to worry about. It is just always ready to go, and the charge, once you've charged it, lasts for about 2 hours, according to Javier. I haven't actually tested, I haven't left it on for that long, which is a hell of a lot of performances before you ever need to recharge it. The tutorial is chock full of routines and ideas. This is a utility device. You're only limited by your imagination. It's something to have a lot of fun with. It starts off with just the idea of creating the light and the power ball, but you can also do, you can tend to grab the light from a light bulb and then put it back in the light bulb if you wish, but you can do anything. You can light up a light bulb, that obviously isn't plugged in, otherwise if it was plugged in it would be so amazing. You can light up bottles of drink, you can use it for coin productions, coin vanishes, coin bending, any transformation you can think of. It can really just create that moment of magic, or give the illusion of a magical presence, or another being, almost a fairy, as Javier jokes in the trailer, doing the magic. It can be really, really strong. It can be a fun mime. It is entirely up to you how you go with it. Every routine is taught very, very thoroughly, despite the fact obviously the method is fairly similar, and Javier's teaching is, as always, great. How you get into it and how you ditch it, that simply requires a moment of relaxation. You do have to bring your hands together, so you can't just put one hand in your pocket and come out ready to go. You have to bring your hands together. You have to sort of have it in one hand, attach it to the other hand. That makes sense, without giving away too much. And at the end, you can show your hands fairly freely, and then steal the gimmick away at another moment of relaxation. How you create these moments is left up to you, but it's quick and it's easy to do. One of my favorite effects on the tutorial is actually the card trick. I think it's a card trick that Titanus does himself, where the spectator finds their own card, but the thing is, they're holding their palm over the cards as you deal them down, and it seems like the light beam comes from their hand, that they're doing it with their mind. And I love that idea. It's not explored enough actually with this in the tutorial, of having your spectator have the power of creating that light. I think that is a wonderful, wonderful concept. Empowering your spectators is always good. The shock of them actually producing the light, absolutely brilliant. So I think it's really got its uses for mentalists as well as the traditional, more coin card, sleight of hand, close-up performers. I am gutted not to be able to show the gimmick, because the build quality is amazing. I think you can drop this, you can carry it around in your pocket, you can be pretty careless with it, and it will still be absolutely fine. You can change the color, not by changing the light itself, but by covering the light. You just have to go on Amazon or pop or do a Google search to find what you need, but fairly simple. Not sure I would actually bother, and there are some bits that you might eventually run out of, and they can be sourced quite easily. Javier goes into exactly what they are, what they're called, what to look up, and you can get them universally. The only thing you really need to worry about is bit of pocket management, for keeping it safe and available in your pocket, and watch those angles. That is FireFly by Titanus, $51.99. Next up, it's Holding Pattern by Alvo Stockman. This is a very, very simple gimmick that you get quite a bit of mileage from. You have 3 cards selected by 3 different participants. They are then returned to the deck and lost. You then find the first participant's card, which will be the Queen of Hearts. You then show the card to the second person, and the Queen of Hearts is actually holding their card. You then show that card to the third person, and the card that the Queen of Hearts is holding is now holding their card. It's a great little triple revelation. Let me show you the gimmick, because there aren't any surprises here, but you might want to know that you're going to need a red rider back card, and you get 2 of them, which is really good. So red rider back, and two of them. The tutorial, which is by Eric Tate, in which he uses the Penguin marked deck, which is actually a maiden backed deck, but it completely flies. The two backs are so similar, and in fact the Penguin marked deck is absolutely brilliant as an everyday deck. The markings passed unnoticed. Eric might want to correct me, but I believe he used the marked deck in his Penn and Teller Fool Us, despite the fact the marks had absolutely nothing to do with the trick, and Penn and Teller didn't pick up on it. I forget exactly how long the tutorial is now, but it's over half an hour, I think, and it is really, really thorough. Eric goes into several variations of the performance, which are mainly changed via the presentation, really, but ways of revealing the first card, which is probably quite important. You want that to be quite dramatic. It can just appear face up. That would be virtually self-working. You can actually have it face up right from the start if you wish, or you can do something like the Bowery reversal, which Eric teaches. Or you can do Daryl's hot shot cut, which again is all taught on here. Make it as dramatic as you want. He teaches various ways of flicking it out of the deck with your little finger. All of that will take practice, maybe something to aim for if you wish, and just keep it very, very simple if you're a beginner. He then teaches ways of forcing the card. There's only one card to force, so there's no actual card controls. The three cards that are chosen, they do legitimately get lost in the deck. The setup is simply just having the card either on the top or the bottom, and then you're into it. Forcing the card, Eric runs through more forces than you're going to need, from the crosscut force to the riffle force to the slip force. He's got a nice little take on the slip force that he attributes to Bob Sheets. I first saw Steve Valentine do that, so I don't know who is the first, but I shall bow to Eric's knowledge on that. If you do the slip force, I think it's well worth putting in this little nuance. I've never quite liked going, not that, when you turn it over and go, not that one, I've seen that one, this one. This is just a little gentle action, and it really does reinforce it and covers up the noise. And he also teaches the cut deeper force as well, which is usually attributed to Ed Balducci, but it definitely predates him. It comes back all the way to the 1940s, I believe. It's a very simple effect with a very simple gimmick. Let me just show you actually one of the gimmicks close up. I don't know if I did that enough earlier, but don't underestimate it. For me, it's great to be able to involve three participants at once, and the power of it, the surprise of it. Obviously, a court card holding another card isn't completely original, but having the second card also reveal the card is slightly more fun to me. It just takes it that little bit further, that adds to a little bit of comedy value. Eric does run through the different handlings of having the revelations revealed bit by bit. You can do it with a wave and a shake to make it seem that the card is actually changing, or you can just show it to the spectators individually. It's up to you, whichever you think is the more magical or fits your style. It's a great gimmick that's convenient to carry around. It can ride in your deck throughout all your other performances, or you can just have it tucked in the cellophane of your card box, ready to put into the deck whenever you like. And it just gives you a great effect for a group of people at the drop of a hat. That is Holding Pattern by Alvo Stockman, just $11.99. Now, before I go any further, I must remember there was a competition last week to win Digit Spinner. The idea was that you had to say what your party trick was. Some wonderful, wonderful party tricks out there. Some of you I am never inviting to a party, but here we go. Here is the wonderful Wok of Wishes. I've just thought this is the only time I use this wok. I haven't actually got a hob, so I don't know even why I've got it. But anyway, here we go. And the winner of Digit Spinner is Ben Levy. There you go, Ben. Congratulations. I've got your details, so don't worry about that. I will send you Digit Spinner on, it'll be on Tuesday now, won't it? Because it's the bank holiday Monday. Next up, it's Shaker by Flat Bass. This is another sort of utility device, I suppose. The idea is that you can simulate either the presence or the absence of a card or an object inside a card box. Usually that object will of course be a playing card, but it can be other things as well, which touches on in the tutorial. The tutorial is a whopping 45 minutes long. There is a little bit of repetition in that, but I think he really wants to emphasize exactly how to use the gimmick properly, how to handle it properly, and how to get the most from it. English clearly isn't his first language, so it is dubbed, but gets away with it because a lot of the focus is actually on the hands and the box and not so much on his mouth moving, so it's not really distracting at all. I can show you quite a bit of this because in the trailer you'll see at the end there is a QR code that reveals exactly how this works. At the same time, I don't want to accidentally reveal too much more and abuse that trust, but this is what you receive essentially. It is a rider back bicycle box. Here we go. So on the back you'll have a card. It comes with a card, but it could be any card that you like as long as it matches the box, and you've got a magnet as well, and the magnet is disguised with a bit of the playing card from the middle. And this box is, I'll tell you what, I am very impressed. I am surprised at the amount of thought and ingenuity that has gone into this. It is much more than it seems. So the idea is the box can either rattle or not rattle, and that is obviously controlled mainly by this magnet. So if I have the magnet in the middle, the box rattles. If I move the magnet down, it doesn't rattle. Okay, so that's the main operation. That's largely what you will be doing with it. But what is a really nice touch, even if you remove the magnet, you can have it work. So you can control the sound with or without the magnet. And if you do it without the magnet, obviously you can show the box all around very freely. There's absolutely nothing to see. You can put your cards in here. It won't quite hold a full deck, but let me show you. There's really nothing to see. Obviously you do show that this box is empty in most of the routines anyway, but you can get most of your cards in there, probably a smidge under 50 of them. But if you used something like the Penguin Elite deck or the Thin Crush cards, they'll probably all go in there easily. So that's, I mean, I do like the idea of just actually having this as my card case and using that manual function, but there are advantages to using the magnet, and you can steal this magnet off so easily. But I also want to say that there is a magnet here as well, and here. So there are 3 places of magnetization or attraction, and there, and that helps hold this extra card on the back, your revelation card as it were, really securely. You can also use this magnet to steal this off, so it ends up attached inside the box, so it's completely clean as well from all sides after you've pulled the card out, which is really clever. He runs through some nice handlings of how to move that magnet just by picking the card box up. All of the handlings are just taught in a lot of detail, how to make it silent, what not to do, what to do, and then you've got some routines as well. Obviously having the card, forcing the card, having it vanish from the deck and appear inside the box is one. He teaches a way of doing that with a common gimmick. You could also use a Himba wallet, put the chosen card in the Himba wallet, then open it up and show that it's vanished and it's now in the card box. It is really clever, and everything has been thought through. You can do other things with it, so you also get a pair of poker chips. You don't have to use these poker chips. He talks a little bit about using Mark Southworth's Sucker Punch, or you could use magnetic coins and so on. You will want to play around with the polarity and just how strong they are compared to the box and everything like that. So you could have one of these already in the box and do a color change, basically drop one in, tip out the other one, and it changes color. So you can do some sort of transformations as well if you wish. These are quite cheap and vinyl-y, but they are different colours and they do change. If you're the creative type, you can of course shim any other objects, perhaps even banknotes, and have them change from a £5 to a 50, for example. For me though, I think it is, I would use it without all of the added extras and just use the box, use the manual operation, keep my thin crushed cards in there, and just be ready to go with a simple card to card box revelation. And finally, we have Invisible Harmonica from Fabian Rebouh. Rebouh, I'm sorry, I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Fabian is from Germany, and he's clearly a very creative and fun magician. The idea here is that you can play your empty hands as if they are a harmonica, or indeed borrow an object and play that as if it's a harmonica. It is really good fun. If you want to channel your inner Bob Dylan at any point, you can. It's a very, very simple gimmick, actually, really well constructed by Penguin. The tutorial starts with Eric Tate, who runs through exactly what you receive and how to use it, and the basic handling of it, and the routines as well. It is very straightforward, and I think once you open the box, you will understand exactly what you need to do. But Eric gives you some nice little tips, and also it's very easy to get into. You know, it is just a little quick hand into your pocket, bring your hand out, and you are good to go. Borrowing an object rather than your empty hands is much easier, because that has got something to hide behind. You've got justification for how you're holding that object. And also borrowing an object is funny. Eric says he does it with some IDs, but you can just pick up a fork off the table. You can play someone's phone, for example. Obviously, don't borrow a harmonica, but or a coin, anything that anyone has got on them, you can pretend to play. You can of course just pluck something out of the air and play your empty hands. The second part of the tutorial is by Fabian, and he gives his little version of the trick as well, his storyline and his patter, and he has a nice circular routine where he produces a coin, plays the coin as if it's a harmonica, turns the coin into a harmonica, puts the coin back in the harmonica, drops the coin out of the harmonica again. It's a nice little routine with a great storyline and a lovely hook, and that's great if you want to make it into a fully fledged part of your close-up rather than an amusing little interlude. He also teaches a way of, or an idea of just forcing a skill or an activity, of which you can have, I don't know, dwarf juggling or so on, and then you have the one that gets forced is obviously playing an invisible harmonica. Again, a really nice idea if you want to flesh this out a bit. For me though, it is an everyday carry. It's small enough to fit in your pocket. It's not really going to get hurt or damaged, and yeah, when you fancy a bit of fun or someone gives you some change in the bar, you could just pretend to play it. I think it's probably a little too addictive. I might begin to annoy people. At least I think I should probably Google how to play the harmonica and get a better tune out of it. There is a little tool that comes in the box as well, which is a nice little thought if you want to do a bit of maintenance or switch the sound slightly. That's probably more for the musically accomplished than me. No surprises for realizing this is right up my alley. It's that brilliant, perfect blend of comedy, entertainment, bafflement, bewilderment, surprise, and you can do it with borrowed objects. I think it's just wonderful. It does take a little bit of practice to get nice and smooth, and you don't want to be glancing down at your hands, but in his section Eric does teach a nice little way of just using half of the gimmick, and that is definitely the way I've been doing it, and it is very slick and very easy to do that way, and as long as you've got an object in your hand, you have plenty of cover. That is Invisible Harmonica by Fabian Rebouh.
This show is awful, terrible, disgusting.
And that is also the end of the show, I'm afraid. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Come on, especially the UK. We've got that extra day. Let's grab some magic this weekend. Go out there and have some fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye-bye.